want to discuss a little bit about the big boom of the metaverse now. Even though myself and others like yourself have discussed the metaverse for years, it seems as though it's just starting to become mainstream amongst people. Where do you think the metaverse will be in the next 10 years? Where will we progress?
So my gut feeling about this is that overwhelmingly the emotion which is going to drive the metaverse is going to be nostalgia. The one place that people want to visit that there is simply no way to go is the past. And I think that people's desire to visit their own pasts and visit the pasts of the countries and the cities that they live in is enormously strong. But because the metaverse has been pitched as a technology for the young, everybody's like, oh, the metaverse, it's filled with excitement and all the rest of this stuff. But the metaverse is actually not that exciting for young people. There's just not that much opportunity to get into any kind of real trouble or real scrape in the metaverse. It provides none of the things that young people actually want. But what it does provide is what you old people want, which is the ability to go and see things the way that they were 50 years ago. So I think what we're going to discover is that primary users of the metaverse are going to be people over 40. And that it's going to become an enormous recreation of the past that people spend a lot of time in as a way of managing, the nostalgia that comes as you get older and you think about the world that was. I think the new and exciting thing, I think that is still going to be in the physical world because, frankly, the physical world is a much better place to be young and excited than the metaverse is. Right.
Yeah. And I joke with my friends that if you want to see the realest metaverse there is, go outside because a lot of people seem to think
go outside
that
on a Friday night, right, in a major city after 3 or 4 beers, right? We are so good at that as a scene, humanity has gotten very, very good at their partying. Thank you very much. And it's not really clear that anything that happens with a bunch of, a headset on your head is going to make any kind of dent in that kind of desire that people have for excitement, for, connectivity, to see something new. I just don't see that happening in an environment that looks like video games.
Yeah.
Right. But if you think about, if you think about the way that old people will sit around and watch reruns, over and over and over and over again, if you could give them hyper-realistic reruns of their own past, I think that for older people, that familiarity with this thing which is now gone, as a way of preserving culture, preserving history, I think the metaverse is unbeatable.
Right. Yes. And that's interesting because a lot of people seem to think the metaverse is geared towards younger people, towards gamers. And I think they're missing the point that too much sensory overload, too much inside, I think that'll actually turn the next generation where they'll look and they'll say, you guys are spending so much time inside of a metaverse. We want to be outside. Whereas, like you said, the older population can sit for hours. I know my grandmother can sit and watch her stories for 8 hours straight and not move a muscle. So the metaverse may be a great way for nostalgia. So glad to hear that from you as well. What's in store for Mattereum? Does Mattereum have any thoughts about going into the metaverse or sticking with physical goods?
So the place where the metaverse stuff comes up for us is visualizing the past of things like Renaissance instruments. So we do a lot of work with a very high-end violin dealer in London. And if you're looking at trying to visualize the past 325, 350 years of history for a violin, you sort of think that's the kind of data set where maybe you do want to be able to put a headset on and, scroll your way back through 200 years of history, show me the people that played it, show me the music that was played, give me a recording of this piece of music on an instrument like this one. That ability to kind of visualize these massive data sets that build up around these historic instruments, that's a really interesting area of growth for us. I think we'll do some metaverse type stuff there.